The fireworks outside my apartment window sounded like they were mocking me, each burst of light a reminder that the world was celebrating without me. I stood there with a cold cup of tea in my hand, counting down the seconds to a new year I wasn't sure I wanted, when a sudden knock at my door sliced through the noise. At midnight, on New Year's Eve, and in that moment, before I even knew who was standing there, I felt it. This night was about to change everything. I hadn't planned to be alone. I never do. But plans have a way of falling apart quietly, one excuse at a time. Friends canceled, family was far away, and my phone stayed stubbornly silent as the clock crept toward 12. I told myself I was fine, that independence meant strength, but the truth sat heavy in my chest. This year had taken more from me than I admitted: late nights at work, dreams postponed, feelings buried under professionalism. Especially when it came to him. My CEO. The man everyone admired, feared, respected, and the one person I'd trained my heart not to want. At the office, he was composed and distant, always one step ahead, always unreachable. Yet there were moments, brief, dangerous moments, when his eyes softened during late meetings, when his voice lingered after everyone else left. I told myself it was nothing. I had to. Loving someone like him was a risk I couldn't afford. So when the final seconds of the year arrived, I whispered a quiet wish to the empty room, just one sign that I mattered to someone. The knock came exactly as the clock struck 12. At first, I thought I imagined it. My heart pounded as if it already knew what my mind refused to believe. I opened the door slowly, half expecting a neighbor or a mistake. Instead, there he stood, coat slightly dusted with snow, breath visible in the cold air, eyes searching my face like he'd been afraid I wouldn't open the door at all. For a second, neither of us spoke. Fireworks exploded behind him, painting the hallway in flashes of gold and red, but all I could see was him. "I didn't want you to be alone," he said quietly. That single sentence shattered every wall I'd built. I stepped aside without thinking, letting him in, letting the warmth of his presence fill the space that loneliness had occupied just moments before. He looked around my small apartment, taking in the modest decorations, the untouched dinner, the reality of my solitude. Something unreadable crossed his face: regret, maybe, or resolve. We sat on opposite ends of the couch at first, the distance between us louder than the fireworks outside. He told me he'd spent the evening driving, unable to settle, feeling like he was forgetting something important as the year slipped away. I laughed softly, admitting I'd been pretending not to care while secretly wishing the night would end quickly. Our honesty felt dangerous, like stepping onto thin ice, but neither of us pulled back. As the conversation deepened, so did the silence between words. He confessed that the company had become a shield for him, a place to hide from personal failures and unmet hopes. I admitted how invisible I'd felt, how being strong all the time had left me exhausted. When our eyes met again, there was no hierarchy, no titles, just two people standing at the edge of something they could no longer ignore. And right then, as the fireworks faded into echoes, I realized this wasn't just a visit. It was a turning point. The night stretched on, and somewhere between shared laughter and quiet confessions, the air shifted. The new year didn't arrive with noise for us, it arrived with clarity. He stood up, pacing once, as if gathering courage he'd never needed in boardrooms. "I don't want to start another year pretending," he said. My breath caught, because neither did I. He stopped in front of me, close enough that I could feel the warmth of him, close enough that stepping back would have meant losing everything. When he reached for my hand, it wasn't rushed or reckless, it was steady, certain. In that touch was every unspoken feeling, every late night, every stolen glance. And as our fingers intertwined, I knew whatever happened next would redefine both our lives. The challenges didn't disappear with a kiss or a confession. We talked about reality, about the office, the rules, the risks. Fear tried to creep in, whispering about consequences and expectations. But something stronger answered back, the realization that loneliness hurts more than judgment, and silence costs more than honesty. By the time dawn hinted at the horizon, we had made a choice, not a careless one, but a brave one. When he finally left, the apartment felt different. Fuller. Lighter. The same walls, the same furniture, but I wasn't the same person who had stood there alone hours earlier. As I closed the door, my phone buzzed with a message from him: "Thank you for opening the door. To your home, and to me." I looked out the window one last time as the city settled into the first morning of the year. I had started the night believing I was forgotten, that another year would pass me by unnoticed. Instead, I learned that sometimes, hope arrives when you least expect it, wrapped in courage, knocking softly at midnight. And if you're brave enough to answer, it can turn even the loneliest beginning into the start of something extraordinary.